Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are doing the Cherry on Top YouTube hop, and the theme for it is mixed media, but also what inspires us. And I thought this was a perfect time to show you a new book that I recently had on a haul video, probably yesterday, so I'm kind of slamming all these videos together. But I had recently picked up, it's hard to see it without the light, Fabulous Florals with Acrylics. Now this book has totally blown my mind. Okay, so A, obviously it uses acrylics. B, I'm a flower child through and through, and everything in this book is right up my alley. It gives you the flower name, your list of supplies, and at least 4 to 5 to 6 steps on how to achieve the actual, painting itself. It even tells you specific colors and when to mix them. So here's like a poinsettia. Here are the asters, which is done on canvas or a burlap, it looks like. It is just gorgeous. And now I was recently on the Cherry on Top blog, and I did one in the front of the book. I can't even say the flower name. That's how terrible. I love flowers, but tell you the names of the species I just did, I don't even know. But it was up here in the front. It was this one. So Helleborus. So I did these steps. So that video is coming after this one, but I did the whole project in order to have this one for the YouTube, for the blog on A Cherry on Top. So check out that. I will leave it linked down below. But you can see how great the illustrations are. It shows the brush strokes, so you don't have to be thinking you have to be a fine artist. So like here's the sunflowers, and that's like the first step, is having all of that gorgeous brush strokes and splattering on paint. And then getting a little bit more detailed. So for like this one, it gives you 5 steps, and then this is like your finished product. And so art books like this, I thoroughly enjoy adding to my collection from time to time. I took a gamble on this one because there were no pages or flip throughs that I could find online. And I was like, you know what though? I have so many cheap acrylic paints. Plus I love the Dina Wakley heavy body ones, that I was like, playing with acrylics is more my speed than trying to learn. Like if it was saying like flowers with watercolors, I'd be a little bit more hesitant just because watercolors intimidate me. Like look how, like I could also do that one really. That's like beautiful. So I just wanted to show you a thumb through of this. So this book is totally inspiring me. And honestly, I'll be honest, I really do want to do each and every example in this and see what I come up with. So I definitely may do that. There may be a flower series on my channel. So there, like I said, I did film one. It's just not up yet, but I'm doing another one because I loved it so much for this hop. So this is a book that's currently inspiring me. And in general, art books usually do inspire me. But let's be honest, I find inspiration online as well. So Instagram is always great from fellow scrapbookers and crafters. I'm definitely been following a lot of junk journaling girls and like daily journaling content creators. And I really love that vibe too. But when I want to play with my art supplies, this is definitely a book. And it's hardcover, okay? And it's decent size. It's a good like coffee table book. And look how gorgeous the book is itself. You know what I mean? So definitely gorgeous. So I think I'm leaning towards this one just because I do want to do a page on the burlap. And I want to do it on burlap in my, I'll show you. Also in that haul was my Dina Wakley, like the first multi-surface journal. And this one does have a burlap page. So I definitely want to give it a try on this, and I'll show you the previous one. So look, this is what it was, and that one was in the beginning. Now, is it 100%, the image? Absolutely not. But is it stinking close? Absolutely yes. So that's why I do want to give it a go on this burlap, because this one was definitely done on burlap as well, It even shows you cutting it there. And so they kind of gesso the back to make it a little bit more sturdier. And I actually might do that as well because I think Dina herself does that. So we'll probably like gesso in the back, and then we'll paint on this one. I will make it a landscape orientation and do this step with the white bursts, adding purple on it, like 3 different kinds of purples, and then whiting out the background. And then we are adding more details. So pink and orange. Yeah. And then some shading. So that one seems like doable so that you're not intimidated by this process either. So first step, let me put this book to the side. Let me get this here and let me get my gesso. Is this my gesso? No, that's my matte acrylic. So let's get gesso and we will prime this. That has to dry and then I'll be back and we'll do the white bursts. Okay, so let's get started. So I did grab over my gesso and I did try to, in essence, like prime the back side of the page like it had suggested in the book. And in this journal, I'll be honest, I don't think it really helped give it much tooth. And when I say tooth, I think it's just the word us, you know, or us, like I'm part of the club. You know, mixed media artists use, at least in my experience, to mean it gives it more like grit, more firmness, more something to adhere to. That's just kind of that reference. And so I don't think it did much, but maybe it did because I obviously never did this painting on it just as it comes. So it's just one thing to consider. You may or may not want to do it and skip that step, and that is totally fine. So I picked up, and I'm only playing with inexpensive paints. There are some that are available on Cherry on Top, like Americana, I believe is the one, or Craft Smart. These are the ones that I also have. I also have like Apple Barrel in my collection, as well as, what's the other brand? Those are the big ones, Americana, Craft Smart. Yeah, those are the ones I really get. So I'm not playing with the Dina Wakley heavy body ones. You know, it could be a different experience playing with those because they have more weight. Whereas you can see when I'm doing these brush strokes, there's a little bit of translucency to them, meaning that they are obviously on the thinner side. And so maybe a second layer, which I do sort of start to do later on, could be warranted in order for the color to really be bold, opaque on this burlap. But for the, in essence, how I call it, for the sloppy paint stroke, very abstract version of these aster flowers that we were going for, I think these paints do it justice. Also because adding more, you know, really doesn't kind of hurt the bottle, you know, content anymore. Like another layer, second layer didn't bother me to use. And so I definitely pulled out about five different shades of purple, a little bit more mauvey, a little deeper, and then those tones in between in order to get that variation that seems to be in the inspiration from the book. Now the book is wonderful. I'll leave it linked down below. It either was priced at $20 or $25. It was, you know, affordable in that regard, and I'll have it linked down below. They're still available at a Cherry on Top, and books like these are fantastic in my collection. Not that I have tons, but the ones that I do invest in and have in my stash are always a constant source of inspiration for me to create. The one I showed you earlier was one, like I said, that I had on the blog. I'll leave the blog post listed down below as well. And now this one for this hop, because it kind of worked out perfectly, especially for the theme that we were going for. So you can see I'm also adding the yellow for the centers and then a little dollop of the orange, which was also featured in the inspiration photo next to me. And I'm just kind of like looking over and having it out and going with it. This is a little bit of playtime. What you always learn in playtime with your supplies is, again, how your art supplies work with each other, what works best, what's the drying time, you know, do they need a thick layer, do they need a thin layer? And this is all part of that playtime that I really want to do more of and just have fun in my art journals and not always feel like they have to be finished products every single time. If this turned out poorly, it would be a lesson and learn and trying it again, and that's okay as well. So I took some time to just do some drying to speed it up, and I went in with Stabilos, and none of this really worked out good for those fine brush strokes that they had. I knew Sharpie wouldn't work as well, but just to get a little bit of contrast with this chunky Stabilo did the piece just fine, and I think it turned out really good for flipping through an art book and recreating something in an 8x10 journal. This was well worth the exercise. Okay, I think I'm going to finish it off there because in the painting, there's like these, as you can see, like just black little strokes really thin. And I've tried it with 2 different mediums, and to get the daintiness, I know wouldn't even come up with Sharpie or anything else. So that one's a mystery to me. I read the instructions and I think maybe they use paint, and I don't, you know, to find paint, it's going to be hard for me. So I used the Stabilo chunky one, and we just got some black smudges to get some contrast, high contrast on there. But I think it looks good just as it is right now. I'm very happy with it. It's a very brush stroke heavy piece. It's on the burlap, which is always going to be a hard one to do, but maybe I'll do it again in a different color spray. But looks so good. I'll zoom in right there. See? We can tell they're flowers, right? We can tell they're flowers. So that will be a wrap for today's video. There are tons of inspiration on this hop. Everyone on the creative team has done something that inspires them with some mixed media. And I used a combination of Stabilo, gesso, and acrylic inks. So that qualifies it all on some burlap, which is a little bit unusual. And this book definitely is inspiring. I will leave it linked down below for you, along with all the other YouTubers to visit. And I can't wait to kind of try out everything they say and maybe get really good at drawing flowers in my art journal. That would be something to celebrate. So thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe if you are new to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up. It always helps it out. And until next time, everyone, bye.